chat tonight. It's going to be a great one. I know so many of you are anxious for this one. And we're going to get to our special guest in just a few. But before I get things started and jump into the chat, always love to hear a little about you and where you're from, how old your kids are, how long you've been following NJ Mom. If you're a new follower and a new face here and haven't joined us for one of our chats, please let me know in the comments. I can see all the comments here and I'm eager to respond and hear a little bit about you and your scenario. So please do that. And please also share how your week is going. How's it going, mamas? What are we, week 3 in our house of the new school year? So status check, would love to hear how you are faring this week, whatever your week has looked like, whatever your home scenario looks like. Please share. Hopefully it's been a gentle one and a good one so far. It feels really nice outside. Fall weather is a nice change. Came a little quick, but feeling good. So please share what you've been up to and how everything is going so far in this new era we're in of schooling. Before I jump into our guest portion of our chat, I always just like to take a few minutes to tell you a few things that are new on NJ Mom this week. And for those of you who don't know me, or maybe you are a new face here, my name's Marissa. I have 3 little ones at home. My oldest is 4.5, and then I have an almost 3-year-old and a 1-year-old also. And I host our NJ Mom TV and our NJ Mom chats, and this is really such a great chance to connect with so many moms around New Jersey. I look forward to this every week. So happy to have you here with us. So thank you for being here today. As I wait for some of the comments to come in, I'm also just going to do a couple other things. If you're just joining the chat, hello. Come on in. We always love to just highlight a few things that we're working on the site and a few things that we do week to week that if you haven't seen, check out. Before I get to that, though, I also want to take a moment and just thank all of our frontline workers. We have been doing these chats every week, really for much of the pandemic now. We started these back in the spring, and we really just like to take a moment every week to say a big thank you to all of our frontline workers and essential workers who have been on the forefront of everything happening since the beginning and just still continue to do so much. So if you are a healthcare worker or a frontline worker in any way, and I know there are so many of you who join us in these week to week and are also moms, we thank you and we appreciate you. So thank you for everything you do. Hi, Emily. Glad to see you here. Oh, good. That's great. School is going really well so far, 1 in kindergarten and 1 in pre-K. I'm so happy to hear that. I know you were nervous getting things started, as we all were. So that's great to hear. We're going to talk about lots of school issues tonight with our special guest. So good to hear some positives in the room to get things started. It's going well for us too, by the way. Pre-K for my son, going well so far. So, okay, so in addition to our thanking healthcare workers, I wanted to let you know about something special that our WJ Barnabas Health is doing that is such an important event and so important right now more than ever. Our WJ Barnabas Health is an NJ Mom partner, and so we always like to share the great things that they're doing, especially over these past few months. And if you haven't seen it, we have a whole highlight on our site about this, but it's the Run to Honor Healthcare Heroes with our WJ Barnabas Health and the New Jersey Devils. Now, this is a fantastic event to really just give appreciation and also raise funds, because 100% of the proceeds for this is going to go to the RWJ Barnabas Health Emergency Response Fund, which helps protect patients and healthcare workers from COVID-19 and also in other emergencies as well. So such an important cause, especially right now. And the first 100 NJ moms who register with code NJMOM will actually get 25% off of this. And I should mention, this is a virtual event. So they always do this, in person, things like this. This is virtual, starts October 1st, and we are going to be dropping the links to everything we're talking about and mentioning that is up on our site in the comments. So if you're interested, definitely take a look there. We're going to be dropping them there so you can check them out on. We also have some great new articles this week if you haven't seen them. We do a series every week called NJ Mompreneur of the Week. I know it's a favorite of so many of yours, but if you're new around here, and please tell us if you are, we do this weekly, and it's just a great chance to learn about some boss mamas doing some amazing things who are super inspiring and really just giving their all to their families and their businesses. So many interesting ones lately. I had the pleasure of interviewing Taylor for the week's article. She is with Boogie Woogie Babies out of South Orange. Such a fun class, and I loved hearing about her background. Great article up on her on the site. I know we've been talking in these chats week after week about, all the fall things are happening, and NJ Mom is your resource for all of the fun fall guides. So many great roundups of all of the different events and festivals and family-friendly things that I know so many of us are craving to get to. All weather's still nice. Things we can do socially distanced are a win. So a bunch of things for you. Kid-friendly fall festivals around New Jersey, those that are really full family, apple picking, pumpkin, hay rides, music, cider and donuts. Who doesn't love that? I mean, it's like prime time for all that. So check that out. We also have the 10 kid-friendly things to do this week, which every week it's a favorite. I know it's definitely a go-to for me to check as we start thinking about our weekend plans. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, figuring out where you're going to go. I don't know if you saw this, but it stopped me in my tracks. It's the Skylands Stadium Jack-O-Lantern Experience. This is in Augusta. Pictures of this are amazing. So definitely check that out. Have Six Flags Hallow Fest in Jackson Township. So I know that it's really big Halloween time there. They go all out. So check out what they're doing this year. It's different. And we have the Fort Farm Fall Fest in Long Valley. Those are just a couple of things. So definitely awesome list and lots of fun to be had. Get into the heart of fall. We also have a list of families and farms to visit. I just checked this one out myself. We were looking to try someplace new this year. We can do all of the own stuff, and there's really like animals and hay rides and one. So this is a great resource for that if you're looking for something specific or wanting to try something new. Don't forget, we're going to be dropping all of the links to all of these in the comments. So if you're hearing anything you want to check out on the site, it'll be there for you. And this chat will be saved. We always have this really interesting kind of article that has actually gotten a lot of interest from moms in here, and it is with CPT Lab. It's essentially how to try out some different self-care products and get paid up to $200. So these are consumer product testing studies, and we have a roundup of the latest new ones there that are definitely mom applicable. Definitely mom wins. A pediatric sunscreen study, color correcting crest powder, concealer, lip balm. I mean, stuff you can evaluate. So I know I had a mom a couple weeks ago comment that she loves just trying new products anyway, so we also love seeing all of the back to school pictures. School is looking a lot different this year, even now a few weeks in, but even the pictures look different. But we loved seeing all those tagged NJ Mom, and so we have a roundup of the NJ Mom Squad Back to School 2020, and just all of your great first days. We love to see. We always choose 5 of your photos to be our Facebook cover photos of the week. So right here on Facebook, all you have to do is comment a picture of your NG Mom adventures on our cover photo post each week, 5 of them each week, and we just love to see all those smiling faces. I know we need a little of that right now. I mean, I think all of us can just enjoy a little joy in our day. So I know it always brings me a smile when I see the pictures on our Facebook and our Instagram. Thank you for sharing them with us. All right, so we have a fantastic guest tonight, and as I get ready to bring her in, just want to make sure I'm welcoming everybody on in. If you're just coming into the chat now and you're just seeing us get started, we do this each week. really our chance to connect with moms around New Jersey, just all have a chance to kind of connect together and share what we've been going through over the past, and specifically over the past week with the start of this school year. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight in a moment when I bring our guest in. Please let me know if you are new here, because I said this at the beginning of the chat. I always like to reiterate it if I have some new folks just joining in now, new mamas coming in. If you've never joined us before, please let us know. Say hello. Let us know how and where you live in New Jersey and a little bit about you. And if you're a teacher, that is what we're going to be talking about in just a moment. If you are, welcome, and get those questions ready. Right, I'm just going to scroll to see if I missed any comments. They're a little slow coming in. So all of the articles that I just talked about up on the site are linked for you. So definitely check those out if you are looking for something to do. All of the fall are there. All right, I'm going to bring in our guest in a moment here. Jessica Lisboa joining us tonight. I'm adding her now. Let's see. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Hi, Marissa. How are you? Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for being here. I know that this is, the tail end of what both an educator and a mom and trying it all and be talking about tonight. We have checked in with each other, over the months. You've been on our chat with all of our NG Mom community and shared a lot of your experience and this all. So we really appreciate you being here with us tonight. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Let's catch up, right? Since we last met, there was so much uncertainty, and it was before school started, and we were all holding our breaths, right? And so here we are, a few weeks in, sort of feeling our way through the new way to do education and home life, for sure.
Yeah. So let me just open it up by saying, your house. How are things running?
It's busy. For those moms who may not know, I am an educator. I've been a theater educator for 16 years, hence sort of the Black background. I promise you, I'm not hiding anything back there. This is my version of a studio when I teach. So I've been teaching now for 16 years, and my son is 11, and he is also learning from home right now. And it's just been a little chaotic. My husband gets to go to work, to his office. So it's just my son and I navigating, a lot of clocks and a lot of alarms and a lot of sort of check-ins throughout the day as he's learning and I'm teaching. And, I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Certainly the case. It's funny. It's everyone's version of craziness right now, whatever it looks like. But we were asking our NJ Mom community, those moms who are also teach scenario is for them, whether it's like your case where they're both at home with virtual. Some are mixed where the mom and teacher is doing hybrid, child's all virtual. So each one sort of comes with its own challenges, certainly. So what have you been hearing from other teachers and friends of yours who maybe have sort of different lineups?
Well, just like I said, I feel like even with one child, it definitely for me feels crazy, just in managing. So I can only imagine it's much harder with more than one child, especially in a different grade. I have family that happens to have twin girls who are both in kindergarten. And, my brother has done above and beyond, sort of setting up their little playroom area to kind of make it a mini kindergarten, just so they feel that they have a place to go and sort of focus and learn. I have some other moms that I see through my Instagram stories that I connect with, where I see that they're struggling. They have, there are a couple of pictures every now and then or videos that I see where it's like a mom's on the laptop with their students while one is a toddler sitting on the the counter with their Cheerios, and another one's trying to ask a question. I mean, it's the reality of
Right.
the best we can do, to be quite honest. So I know it looks different, like you said, in everyone's household, but the hope is that anyone who's watching, if they've even figured out one small nugget of, an idea of how they've managed to make it work. I know I have a few, and, I'm happy to share them so that we can all be in this together and just really help lift each other up, honestly.
110%. And that's why we're so grateful to have you, because I know so many moms are anxious to hear, little nuggets that are working for someone else. So let's dive into that now.
Yeah, let's do it.
You have a system kind of in place now over the past few weeks that you were telling me. So tell us about some of the things that are working that have been successful in your household so far.
Okay. Well, let me start with what is, to me, honestly, the most obvious: Wi-Fi. Now, I'm no sort of Wi-Fi expert, and you and I, Marissa, were just talking about this beforehand, so that just we can be live together, right? The
Right.
idea of Wi-Fi, and also someone who's teaching students and watching them navigate. I have a class of about 38 on Zoom at one time, and
Oh
just
my gosh.
yeah, and just watching them navigate being on or kicked off, and the amount of in the chats where they're like, sorry, I was kicked off, I didn't, leave
Right.
the room, and their worries. But I always manage to let them know it's okay. But there's a lot for them to do to get back into the classroom. So before I even start with that, the idea of Wi-Fi, a couple of things I've kind of honestly Googled to figure out. But if I'm on my laptop and my son is on his laptop and he's in Google Meets and I'm on Zoom, we really have to be fairly far away from each other so that we are not interfering with whatever is happening in the ethosphere.
Right.
That's my assumption. I'm like assuming that I know what I'm talking about, but honestly, we do
I don't
need.
know either. It sounds good to me. So go with it. We'll go with it.
Right, we're gonna go with it. I can't microwave anything. Apparently, when you're near a microwave, Wi-Fi gets a little spotty.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I've read. I gotta find the article. But and then also the idea of like having, like we were just talking about before we got on live, the idea of having other devices. So just now, before we got on live, I'm on my personal laptop, I had my work laptop, and I had my phone, and I had my iPad. And of course, they're all on. And I realized we were getting a little spotty. And so this idea of having a lot of electronics around you, on, searching, even if you have it closed, really can sort of slow down the Wi-Fi. And like I said, I think obviously we can Google how to make that work, but I do mention it as one of the most important things because it can really slow down, or stress your child in terms of in the their learning, especially if they're in the middle of it. It's happened to my son, and he runs over and it's like, I lost my class and the teacher was saying, and that's stressful for a child to lose their place in the classroom. So I definitely talk about Wi-Fi as a tip, and being mindful of the electronics on so that it can just be those two things.
Yeah, I think that is so important to really just before anything else think about and really be acknowledge, because it's stressful for adults. Like when we can't figure out technical things. I mean, and you're so right. I mean, before this, I have my laptop, I have my desktop, I have my phone, and so I'm turning off my Wi-Fi and all the other things to make sure it all goes. But I don't, I can't imagine how stressful it is for a child who really doesn't understand all the ins and outs of that. So yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so just being mindful of that for sure. And like I mean, I know they sell even routers. I even bought a router extender, or whatever the word is for the extender. But still,
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those things. Another thing I have become best friends with is in this case, I do have a Google Home where I often leave reminders, but even on my cell phone, I am constantly telling my cell phone, please remind me at 4:25 p.m. to do this. And so
Mm-hmm.
what we started to do was, because my son and I are in two different rooms, I'm teaching, he's learning, I've set alarms for him throughout the day so that at certain times he knows what he can't be there to guide him. Now, of course, he's a little older, but there are various ways that I was considering how you can do that with younger students or younger children. I thought about post-it notes a lot. The idea that when alarm goes off, they have to go to a post-it note throughout the house. Speaking of which, I have another solution about post-it notes. I'm big on post-it notes. But yeah, the idea of setting alarms at a certain time throughout the day, or many alarms. We have about 16 alarms. That I know that sounds insane, but I have to have, because I'm so focused on my class and I'm watching the time, but I'm in my lesson. I have to have my start time to get on my Zoom class before they come in. Then they come in. Then I need to time my lesson through it. Then I have to time when they have to leave, right? And then I'm also timing when my son is transitioning classes so I can run over and check on him if I'm free. So
Wow.
it's the truth. I mean,
it's a lot.
Just making it work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about post-it notes. I mean, if you have a child old enough to understand, you know, just the idea of colors and the color system, and
right,
most of them are right. We're in kindergarten or
yeah.
I'm gonna pull something up if you don't.
I know. Oh, and before you do that, let me just say this. I came prepared on my end too, because I'm going to full screen Jessica so she can show you her props, because this is so fantastic. You're so prepared, and just I think you're a wealth of knowledge for our mom community. So let me take you full so everyone can see what you have. Okay.
So I promise I'm not an expert at this. We cry a many times here, but I just wanted to give something I created, and it wasn't pre-planned, but this is a $12, $15 Amazon whiteboard that I bought. And I just took the black whiteboard marker and I wrote it down. And what I did is each color, right? So right here, there would be, let me see, right here would be a pink post-it that would say his ELA class, and then his math, and then his science, and then his history class, you know, and then any extracurricular. So what happens is he needs to, for a Monday, write all the assignments that show up on Google Classroom and write them down. So this is his responsibility. Like, he needs to take it and he needs to write that. For English, he needs to read 20 pages or whatever, right?
Right.
Now, the compromise here is that this is all related to screen time. There's enough screen time happening at the computer, but for every post-it he pulls off that's completed and handed to me, he's earning screen time to do something fun. So you can always do that too, or you can make it work for yourself. But I just like the idea of colored post-its and assigning it something, and it becomes a habit, right? 21 days to a habit or faster.
I love that. And you know what? I think that you're so right in the sense that, like, you know, our kids are different age. Like, my oldest is 4.5, so we're not doing assignments and things like that, but he's getting to the age where chores and things like that are, you know, coming into play. And that's so easy to understand, just the colors, and so easy to make on a mom's end. It's not like some complicated Pinterest, you know, it's just super simple and probably works really well.
Involved. No markers involved. I couldn't with the like 900 color markers. I applaud women who even have that time. I dream of being that person, but I can't. So post-its are it for me.
That's awesome.
Sure. So we've got Wi-Fi, we've got clocks. Post-its become your best friend. Another thing, and I thought about this for younger kids too, I have snacks ready and set for him to interact with while I'm teaching. So he can't come to my studio while I'm teaching because I have to focus here. And, you know, with high school students, I need to make sure that I don't stray away.
Right.
So, because that could be very distracting for them. But I'll have like a bowl of grapes already set for him. And yes, he can get his own things, but I think he gets so overwhelmed with just the process of just the learning online that I have snacks that he knows what to grab and when to grab it. So he doesn't have to ask me for anything during that time.
Yeah, so that's just a really thoughtful thing that is done ahead of time that then doesn't interrupt the flow of the day. That's great.
Yeah. So as I'm making my coffee, I wash some grapes, I put them in a bowl. I might pull out some yogurt and some granola, and just so he knows where everything is. I mean, if it's a younger child, honestly, if they know how to look at the numbers on the clock, you know what I mean, and you have an alarm set, it's like that number matches that snack, and you can touch that, and
Mhm.
just simple little things like that, I feel might be helpful.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have noticed is so my son, let me just preface this. My son got injured a week and a half ago.
Oh
First
no.
time we were going to a skate park, and it just went really bad really quickly. And so, but in the interim of all of that and getting X-rays, we started to realize, while it's very mild, that in his X-ray, that the doctor mentioned that he must be like having his neck over a long time. And I think this is and and the doctor said, I see this in many children right now.
Yeah.
And I started having neck pain. I don't know if any teacher can attest to this watching, but because I'm teaching online, I started noticing that for the last 3 weeks I've been teaching, my neck was hurting,
Hmm.
getting really tense after a full day of work. And I realized that my laptop was much lower than, let's say, where I'm at right now. So it has to be complete, like the camera has to be eye level,
Eye level. Yep.
that I and you it's a mild thing, but even just an inch lower can really put a strain on your neck. So that's for
Hmm.
my teachers out there, if they haven't thought about that and they're on laptops or whatever.
Absolutely. I think for me, it's funny you say that because so for a long time, for those of you who might not know, I was an anchor and a reporter before this for many years. And when I made the transition from from being out in the field a few days a week to being in the office anchoring every day and at a computer for much more of the day, I had so many neck issues.
Right?
And it was the same thing. And it wasn't the camera, but it was just the level of the computer and where I was looking. And so I think that like we underestimate how much strain.
Yeah.
And you guys are at the screen for lengthy amounts of time every single day, and you're putting so much into it. The last thing you're thinking about is the physical.
That's exactly right. It's at the end, you're like, wait a second, I was just sitting down, what's going on?
Right.
So for sure. So yeah, so I was thinking about that. And yeah, well, I mean, those were just some of the few tips. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, one of the things I learned as a teacher that I think many teachers may know, and we can potentially get more frustrated at home now than ever. And I
Mhm.
find that happening with me, and I'm a little more short circuited sometimes, just because of the anxiety of wanting to get everything to go right, and at the same time, be there for my students. Like, they're home ready to learn from me, and I want to be alive and ready, and it is a full intense 50 minutes of me being on for them, right?
Mhm.
But I'm also navigating three different screens for them. I'm navigating Google, I'm sorry, navigating Zoom, I'm navigating another learning platform, Nearpod. I don't know if anyone's using that for their school. I'm navigating Google Classroom as a third tier, and all of these things are open. And then I'm navigating the chat if someone kicked off, or so it is a full on. I'm like an octopus. I'm just like
Yeah.
so that's
It,
how it's been.
oh, I just give you so much credit. You can tell just from hearing you speak for and we've known each other for a few years now, so I know this about you, but you can tell just by hearing you speak for 5 minutes what a passionate educator you are, and a passionate mom,
Thank
but
you.
really how much you give to your students and how thoughtful you've been in preparing for this and all of that. And I know so many teachers are doing the same out there. So, like, huge round of applause to you and to all of the teachers who are making this work. I mean, what you just described to me with the three learning platforms, I like zoned out at the first one. I'm like, I don't even know where this is going, and I'm already overwhelmed. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I think that that's what all the teachers are doing. So yeah, I would just say I'm giving a huge love to any teacher watching, whether you're teaching kindergarten or high school. I mean, we're all doing it differently. Some teachers, in some parts of New Jersey, were trying to manage to teach live in their classrooms while at the same time with students in school, I mean, I couldn't even fathom that challenge. So I
Yeah.
know that there's a certain level of ease at what I have to do and hardship, but everyone is dealing with the probably the most varied type of learning and working in one career, right? You would think teaching is pretty straightforward, at least for people who know how to do it and have gotten certified to do it. But this just feels so disorienting when it comes to trying to speak to other teachers. We're all in different places right now. And so my heart goes out
Yeah.
to everyone trying to manage this.
It's so true. We have several teachers in my family, and a couple of my very, very close friends are teachers. Um, all of them have expressed their own, issues and challenges surrounding this. But my one family member said, the first day of school was the single hardest day of teaching she had had in her career, and so I, it's just, yeah. And yes, so many teachers are doing what you just described in classroom and virtual at the same time. And then, moms who are trying to juggle going into the school on certain days for a hybrid, and then their child's being all remote, and balancing that and fitting that in. We heard from some of them on our site when we were asking, moms who are teachers what they've been experiencing. And, they said that they just felt like, that feeling of being pulled and not being able to be 100% in either circumstance. So really, really challenging stuff. I want to pause real quick and just go through some of the comments because we have some ladies saying hi, some of our favorite regulars who are with us week after week. Hey, Nicole, good to see you. Yeah, Nicole says, it's so stressful with the internet. Sometimes with Liam's early intervention, the Zoom cuts out and he gets confused. He's only 2. So with the children, and my therapist and I get frustrated when the internet goes down right in the middle of the session. So many people are struggling with just rolling with it. And, especially if you're on a finite time, like a finite 50-minute class schedule or whatever it is, the time is precious.
Right. Yeah. And I would say to this end, and I think that I'm sure teachers who are in the classrooms doing this already, and parents or moms just figuring it out, it's really important that we all understand learning online is happening half at the rate that would happen in person. And I can attest to that because I've had to shift my curriculum so much so while still making sure that they get the most rigorous, joyous kind of work. And now I am lucky enough, I feel blessed enough because I'm passionate about my subject, teaching theater. But at the same time, it is a challenge to fit in what we would normally fit in to give students the benefit of learning at the best rate they possibly can. And I speak slower. I mean, I naturally do, but there's something about making sure that this disconnect of human interaction that normally we're reading body language to learn, we took that away. And so I try to do this a lot.
Well, it's a good thing that comes natural to both of us because the two of us could get going with that. I mean, that's how I used to have like bosses in TV tell me like, stop using your hands so much. But it's like, it's just how I speak. It's part of, but for you, that's probably worked to your benefit these past few weeks.
I've tried. Yeah, I've tried for sure. But if anything, I just, the moms who are out there being just mom right now, and I don't mean it in the like, I mean, you're many things. Let me tell you, you're many things. I joked in one of my stories before I came on about like, it's moms and teachers and dad goes to work. But there are a lot of dads out there doing it too. My brother is literally working through the night and comes home and then helps the twins in the day before he gets a few hours sleep to do it all over again. Because my sister-in-law has to go to work. And so trust me, she wishes she could be there. But everyone has a unique situation. I am by far perfect. I struggle, I cry. Sometimes I procrastinate. I don't want to come off like I've got it all perfect because I've got Post-its. I just, you know what I mean? Like you've just got to do whatever works. So what worked today might not work tomorrow. And hey, girl, we will do whatever we got to do next.
Exactly. I think like the theme over the past 6+ months now is like one day at a time and literally put one foot in front of the other. And, we've certainly learned we don't know what tomorrow holds. And so you just have to sort of do your best as best you possibly can to like focus on the present, whatever that looks like, and take the wins when you can get them. So I'm giving you a win for your Post-its because to me, that's like a great idea. And we had another mom, Shireen said, I need to make one of these boards. So you know what? There's your like major win for the day is that you inspired us all to do something like that.
Yeah, no markers, ladies, no markers. That's too much of a mess, especially with the little ones. They'll come in and smear everything. And
right. You have a color coding system. This one's this one's this. Pink is,
and
clean your plate or put it in the sink, whatever it is,
now it's a running joke in my house. When an alarm goes off, he's like, my son is like, Mom, you either have something to do or you just missed it or you have to finish it. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, alarms have saved at least me just because I can't. Yeah. It's just, it's hard to keep track of time. And if you have more than one child in a different direction,
God.
you need something to keep you on the straight and
right. Now, do you just do that all on your phone? You have them all set on your phone and then
Yeah, I literally like Siri, remind me I have Facebook Live at 8 p.m. with Marissa. And it'll just, everything is 5 minutes in advance. So I was like, 7:55, remind me, Marissa, Facebook Live.
So as much as we like curse technology, it actually does, we have to like use it to our advantage when we can. And that's one of those times that like, it's a really, right now we need to lean on the little like shortcuts like that. I personally, like, I never voice texted because I very much dislike when grammatical errors pop up and typos. And so I just always am very old fashioned with it. But lately, like, I've been doing it more because it's a shortcut that like some days I just need that extra few seconds or I need my other hand to manage, so.
And it's so true because you don't realize you do genuinely add seconds back into your life when you say it rather than text it. And I just learned that by a way of teaching, right? I have to teach and then I have to be in the chat. And then I'm also running this other device over here, making my slides go and the video click and screen share. So I have learned just speak.
Yeah.
And if you do have Alexa or Google Home at home, I'm telling you, you don't have to have one to do it, but they have saved my life. They have saved my life. I set alarms throughout the day.
That's so important. All right, I want to make sure everyone knows to please ask your questions if you have any for Jess, or if you want to run a scenario by her that you think she might have some insight with. She's a wealth of knowledge. We've learned that already. But, we'd also love to hear she and I would love to hear how you guys are doing with all this. Like, how are you doing with virtual learning? How are you doing if your child is in a hybrid situation? How's it going? Like, few weeks in. Jess, are you 3 weeks in now? 4 weeks?
What do you mean? Oh, we
are
school. Week 4. We're in week 4.
Week 4. Okay.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions about any of the platforms that their students are learning on, if there are tips and tricks, definitely there's Schoolology, Nearpod, Google Classroom, Google Meets. There's quite a few. There's Class Dojo.
It's a lot. Now you have to use 3 for your school. And what about your son? How many is he? Does he have to kind of?
For him, and I'm happy that his school chose to do this. They only have one code, right? Because everyone enters a code to enter.
Okay.
And all the teachers come in, so he doesn't have to worry about it. However, it was pretty hilarious. If I can tell a story while we're waiting, if someone can think of a question or thoughts, or please tell us if you have a tip or trick for sure.
Yes.
So the other day, I heard him running around the house. And I had just finished a class. I'm like, you're loud. What are you doing? He's like, I'm having gym and I can't find my ball. So I'm using bowling pins to throw because I have to. And I'm like, what? So their gym teacher had them literally turn their camera and run around the house and do something physical with a ball that he clearly couldn't find in time. But it's just been hilarious what I know other teachers are just, especially like elective teachers, like gym and music and theater. Like I stand up sometimes, and this is why this is all black because it's a curtain, but I stand up, I make them stand up, I make them make crazy sounds just to be out of their seats to really get their blood flowing, because it's hard to sit there for that long, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, well, we had a pediatrician who was talking with us last week on our chat, and we were talking about, so many moms concerned about like the screen time and all of that, and we were talking about movement breaks and like working those in. So I know moms are appreciative to the teachers who are able to. I mean, not every subject is able
Right.
to do that. So the ones that it warrants it,
Right.
I'm sure it's much appreciated.
So please always fight and support the arts education. That is so important. That's my plug, Marissa.
One question for you that I just thought of that I know we talked about a lot leading up to school. You're very passionate about being an advocate for your child, whatever the circumstance is. So, what would you say to a mom who really is, seeing that their child is struggling with the virtual learning from a teacher standpoint? What do you hope to see or hear from a parent who sees their child experience?
So I think it's best to make sure you have a very open communication with the teacher. I immediately had an email sent out to my son's teacher probably the third hour into the first day of school. I'm sort of that mom, but not in a way to complain, but I noticed that he was struggling with an assignment, and he had no idea that it wasn't being graded, and it just seemed like an impossible task to finish 75 questions in the amount of time he was given. And so he had a little bit of a meltdown, and it turned out that at the end she stated that it wasn't even being graded, it was just to see what they could do. And so I think that in fairness to her, it was the first day for everyone, but
Right.
at the same time I just consider, virtual, we really have to be even more verbal and more transparent with our students and say more than less.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very verbose, we know this, but it's really important to be over communicative
Yeah.
with the children when you're teaching them, and as a parent to be over communicative with a teacher who is trying to honestly navigate this for themselves too. So there's no better partnership right now to have in this world as a parent, as a mom, than with the teacher who's teaching your child.
Yeah, I think that's so important to remember and so true. And it's hard because, many parents are trying to balance, just like teachers are, I mean, balance their child's learning with their own work requirements and their own, if they're still working from home, technical requirements related to work, so there's just so much. And I think it's easy to just like at the end of the day, feel like you're going to pull your hair out and be like, well, it was just a bad day. But like, to take those moments to say this isn't working, or on either end. I think just we as moms really have to not be afraid to do that right now and really make it a priority above other things, because we don't know what the rest of the year is going to look like, and we want what's best for our kids. We're moms, of course we do. So that's a good reminder.
And I would say, because I know myself like this, I don't, if you ever thought you might be offending the teacher and you're being kind to sort of lay back because you're like, well, she's already or he's already, struggling.
Stressed, right.
I totally understand that, but there's no way they're going to improve their work as a teacher if they don't know the nuances of what each individual student of theirs needs. And even today I received 4 emails from different parents, just noting sort of different things about their child. And even though I do the get to know yous at the beginning of the year, it was so helpful that the parent emailed me after I reached out to them too, because as a teacher I do that as well, to let me know that her child would really benefit from me calling her name at the beginning of class to check in that her tech works. So now I know that little nuance, so that the my student isn't stressed that she doesn't have tech working throughout the class.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. So assume that no teacher will be offended by you reaching out to them and asking or giving them a little backstory about what works best for your child. I think that would be so helpful. Like, my child likes being called at least once. My child prefers to type it, or whatever it is that
Right.
you can discover about your child's
And I think moms are seeing that. I mean, I know, I haven't experienced this myself. My kids are too young for it, but a lot of my friends have said that and you've said this to me, is that you've learned a lot about how your child learns by being around them so much. So, now that they're with a new teacher and, it's a new year, those things, it was sort of different last year because it was halfway through. And so their teachers already knew them.
Exactly.
Now this is a whole new class and a whole new set of teachers for these kids. So I think that's really important to remember.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that disconnect of the familiarity of the beginning of the year, getting to know your students has been hard for sure. And I teach 9 through 12, so
yeah. All right, I'm getting a notification here that we went blank on Facebook, which is not a good thing. So, okay, that's no good. It's weird because it seems fine on my end. Does it seem good on your end also? And I have people.
The number's been going in and out, 32 people.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So, let's see. Guys, please comment and let me know if you can still see us. Let me see. Okay, never mind. I think we're back. Okay. Hi. Say hi in the comments if you can still see us and hear us. Hopefully, you got the last part of what Jess was saying, because I think it was really beneficial. Someone, Nicole, weighed in and said snacks are a great idea. I love that. And you know what? I just wanted to bring up, I meant to say this earlier when we were talking about this. I've seen a couple other moms do sort of some interesting things with snacks and snacking. And also a lot of moms who are struggling with that because, it can be sort of like snacking all day long in certain ways. I mean, I know in our house, we have my kids are still all young, so I'm still able to sort of make a schedule, but a while ago, I just had always said one morning snack, one afternoon snack, and we keep it around the same time of the day. And that's it. That's how it is. But I just a lot of moms have done what you've mentioned, where they set up a little snack station or something like that at the start of the day so they don't have to worry about it. So if they are teaching or working, like you mentioned, little things like that can go a long way. And I'm not talking about making something from scratch and getting all fancy. Get a packet of goldfish or whatever the snack is and just have it set out just like you would if you were packing their lunch, basically, right?
Because otherwise it becomes, Mom, I can't reach that. Can you open this bag? The bottle won't open.
Right.
And I'm just no.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So I just have it all set out. And honestly, there, I think this is the time where I was big always on the snack 2 times a day, not more than that.
Right.
You won't have lunch and you won't have, but we both need to be at home, and I need to be realistic. And some things have to go out the window for a few days.
100%. And the other thing is too, the older your child gets, you lose control of some of the things. I mean, I'm waiting for that day. So, right now it's easy for me to do that, but I totally get it. You have to go with what works and what's realistic on a daily basis. But if it takes something off of your stress level and their stress level, to have it sort of just out and done, I think that's just such a good little tip that is so important.
Yeah, great. I'm happy people like that.
I know. Yeah. Hi, Laura. How are you? Laura's with us.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad we were back on online here because we had a little issue there. So, okay. Awesome. So, what else? What parting words can you leave? You already gave us so much encouragement, but what parting words can you leave moms who are teachers out there just about how you're getting through this?
I was thinking about this, and I really thought that we all know this, and I think we've talked about this several times, just always on NJ Mom, and even in at the events, we're really hard on ourselves. We always are hard on ourselves, right? And we are always trying to make sure we don't mess up. We don't even know what that mess up looks like, but we know we feel it, right? Because that mom guilt
is strong.
And it just sits there, and you lament, and then you wake up at 2 a.m, or maybe that's just me, and then you think about it some more.
Not just you. It's not just you. It's everyone watching right now.
I have not slept well in a really long time. But I will say this, I make sure, and I honestly, I think, I know my son's a little older, but I think I have to be mindful of how he sees me handle all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been my story. And that's how, I've gotten to the place I am with my platform, but just always being mindful of what he sees me do and how he sees me handle this immense world challenge right now. And when I mess up, I tell him I mess up. I think he's a little older now. I could be like, Mom messed up. I got mad at you because Mom really was thinking about how she didn't finish something for work and it wasn't you. And that's as honest as I can be, because I am not doing it all right all the time. I am just patching up big holes that sort of show up when something else is like coming up in the midst of just going from day to day, like you said. But I would say that, so that's really it. And if you could probably do this, I would start to just switch your thinking to like what to do rather than like what I can't do anymore, right? Like, I can't do this anymore because of this situation, or they can't do that anymore. I think it's more just like, just start taking back what you have control over and what you can do. And when you talk to your children, I'm not the psychologist of children, but I will say that just I'm always mindful of um telling my son like what to do, right? Like, you need to do this, not don't do that, don't do that. You know what I mean? Because I think that just adds to what we already are all dealing with. Are we perfect? No. Are we going to say don't? Sure. But if we can just make a small mindful note of just switching our language around our
Mm-hmm.
children, I just, in a world of don't right now is what I
Yeah.
keep saying. So
Right.
we can't, we don't have it, we can't have it, it's not happening. I just feel
Yeah.
like just flipping the switch a little bit when you talk.
There's so much no and there's so much can't. And yeah, I think that little nuance is like so powerful, especially when we're dealing with little people. I think we sometimes underestimate how big those small shifts can be in their brains and in their minds. And it's like, as kids anyway, all day long, they hear what they're supposed to be doing. Everyone's making rules for them. And right now, so much of what they know is flipped on its head. So yeah, I think that's just really important for us to remember. So thank you for that. I really appreciate
Sure.
just all of your sage advice and wisdom. And I mean, my kids aren't virtual learning now, but if that happens, I feel a little more prepared after this chat. So thank you so much. And we just really appreciate you being with us. Thank you for sharing and always just being a friend of NJ Moms. Oh, Laura says that's such a great tip. I'm going to pay attention to that. It's little things. I think sometimes we need people to remind us of those little things and just the power they have.
Yeah, it's funny because I usually often tell my husband, I'm like, and it's funny because it was with my dog. So just to wrap this up, he'd be like telling the dog, like, stop, stop, Shakespeare. And I'd be like, well, the dog won't know what to do if you just tell him to stop, right?
Right.
So it's like, kind of translates to like, if you tell him to sit, he'll
Right.
sit,
Right.
And that's it. Like, that's just a human thing too, right? Like, don't do that isn't going to get you the result that you want. But if you tell them what to do and give that little bit of sweet tone to it, like, I need you to sit now, rather than stop running around. Right? Although we want to say that too.
Right.
That's helpful.
It's so true. It's so true. It's more positive. Yeah, Laura said that, and I was just thinking the same thing. It's just that little, like, we need everything we can right now to root out negativity, and this is like a very simple way to do that. So
tell them what to do.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jess. This was so lovely. Really appreciate you being with us. Wish you continued success in all that you're doing. And, for those hard days, we're all with you too. That you have a lot of support. All of you moms do. We're here to support each other. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, and please, anytime. I mean, if it's an NJ mom and you want to find me and ask a question to them, they'll route it to me or find me on This Season's Gold. on Instagram, and I'm happy to always just be a supporter of all of the NJ Mom community because they've always been so kind and loving to me. So thank you for having me, Marissa, and all.
Oh, good to see you. All right. We'll talk soon. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. All right, so Jess was awesome as always. If you guys have joined us on some of these other NG Mom chats, you know she's just such a positive wealth of information, resource, and just shares so much uplifting good tips and tricks. And really appreciate you, Jess. So thank you. On that note, please let us know if you have suggestions or ideas for guests for our chats. What would you guys like to see as topics? Now that we're a few weeks in, you know, things are shifting. There are different things coming up in the school conversation, in the learning conversation, in the kids conversation. So if you have an idea of something that you would like to see us talk about, cover, or an idea for a guest, please drop it in the comments. And this will be available to share to friends here on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you have a friend, especially a mama who's a teacher, definitely give this a share and let them know that Jess dropped some really good knowledge bombs there and awesome tips. So thank you, thank you. We also have a poll up on our site. If you guys haven't seen it, we're asking one question every week, just really to get feedback from you guys about what you are all experiencing as moms right now, specifically, you know, with the new school year and the start of that. So take the weekly poll on the site. It's one question. You know, we've gotten some great feedback and it helps us kind of shape these conversations and know what you guys want to talk about and what you've been experiencing. So thank you for all of you. Thank you to all of you who have shared that with us, and please continue to do so. All right, mamas, have a great rest of your night. Hope the rest of the week is easy as it can be, and definitely check out all those fall guides on NJ Mom for some ideas. See you next week.